back if you've been following us, and nice to meet you if you're new. A lot of people have been going through their tax protests lately, and they've been having a lot of issues between their tax protests, their refinance values, and then what their house is actually going to sell for. So I wanted to go through the different types of appraisals there are. Alright, so first off, what are you seeing in your tax appraisal value? It's split between your improvements and your land value. That land value comes from the comptroller. It's very difficult to actually argue that point unless you're seeing a lot of new developments coming up around you. The improvements value is really where you're going to see that difference. Recently in my area, we've seen land values increase, whereas we had the improvements value decrease. A lot of people were worried that that was going to make their house less valuable because they actually lost money on their improvements. However, that issue only came up because our specific county had been delayed in actually improving the land values based on the comptroller's assessment. What they're actually doing when they do that full appraisal value is they're comparing you to other sales in the area, and then they have a set land value, and they're going to subtract that from your total appraisal value, and that'll give you your improvements. So your property didn't actually lose value, they just changed where that value was allocated. Another thing that people were thinking is that if they do end up protesting their taxes and getting that value lower, they're not going to be able to sell their home for as much. But there's a big difference between your property tax appraisal, a refinance appraisal, and then what your home is actually going to sell for. A recent example is that I had a friend of mine who wanted to do a refinance for their property. They wanted to protest what the refinance value that lender was giving them was, and so they asked me to do a market analysis. With that, I used the highest legal comps that I could possibly use in that area to find the maximum value that property could go for. Just about a month after that, that same friend wanted to protest his taxes. Even though we had just attempted to get his refinance value at around $240, $250, he wanted to protest the taxes to about $220, $225. With that, I was going to use the lowest legal comps in that area. So when I'm talking about legal comps, I'm saying that I'm not pulling completely incomparable properties. I don't want a property with a 50-year difference, or one that was a custom build as opposed to one that was a builder property, where they're just not going to have similar values whatsoever. And so the final one that people are most worried about is what their property is actually going to sell for. So that appraiser value that you're going to get at the end of that sale is going to be done a completely different way than what you would do for this refinance appraisal or this tax appraisal. We're actually going to pull comparable sales as well as their days on market and try to fit whatever price we're going to list that property for in terms of how soon you want to sell it. So when we're doing that comparative market analysis, we're trying to find the absolute closest comparable properties that have sold recently and then adjust that value based on differences in upgrades of your house. That's your flooring, fixtures, kitchen upgrades, bathrooms, etc. And so where the big difference in that comes in is that a tax appraisal is not going to be done where somebody actually comes into your property, and oftentimes a refinance appraisal isn't either. However, when you actually get that full appraisal for your property, what it's going to sell at, not only are you going to have clients that are coming through and they're going to actually see and have an opinion based off of what they're seeing in that property, but that appraiser is going to come in there and they're going to check repairs and upgrades and things like that so that they have a much more firm understanding of where your home lies in that market. And so the last thing to be aware of when you're getting an appraisal done, be it that tax appraisal, your actual home sale appraisal, or that refinance appraisal, is it's always going to still be an opinion of value. And so there is room for debate in those because that is just another human and they're using their own strategy. There's no set method to get an exact property value because the markets are always changing. And so if you ever want to protest or get a higher value for your property, feel free to let us know. Myself and the other agents here at Sunburst are here to help you out. So I hope this helped explain the difference between appraisal types. For more information or even a local market analysis, give myself a call or our other agents here at Sunburst. For more videos of everything real estate, leave a like and subscribe below and follow our Facebook pages for weekly updates. Thanks!